standing ovation, but we're working today, so we'll laud each other at the appropriate time. But I appreciate that. First thing I want to do is thank you, each of you, for participating in the government process. Recently in Allen County, one of our local villages, there were 4 city council seats up, and nobody filed to be on the local city council, village council. And it's really a problem, I think, all over the United States that people are simply checking out. And we don't have folks participating, especially at the local government level, but certainly in something like this. So you can go home and look at yourself in the mirror and say, I did a great thing today by getting directly involved in government. And this process is as direct a government process or involvement in the federal government as there is. Unfortunately, a lot of folks in our country have no idea what you're talking about. When you ask them how many articles there are in the Constitution, and they say, isn't there like 10 in the Bill of Rights? Well, no. So we go through, we talk about 7 articles and 27 amendments and all of that. And a lot of that glosses over. So there's a great deal of education that has to do with this project. So keep in mind and have patience with the people that you're talking to. They don't know as much as you do about this subject. Okay, that's the first thing I would say. I've been directly involved in this movement, and I think it is a movement, for about 10 years. I introduced the first resolution to call for convention of states in the House in 2008. I did it the week after President Obama was elected. You can guess what was on my mind at that particular moment. And at the time, and I testified about this in one of the committees about trying to get the resolution passed. At the time, I had a lot of people standing behind me in the committee room booing while I was talking. And a lot of those folks came from the political right. I would guess that a lot of people who were standing behind me booing 10 years ago are going to be standing behind me cheering now, because they figured out that really a convention of the states is the only way to control the federal government. My congressman's Jim Jordan. He's a good friend of mine. I helped him win this Senate seat that I have 16 years ago. And if we had 435 Jim Jordans and 100 in the Senate, yeah, we could do something about it, but we don't, and we never will. Collectively, there's not the will or the incentive, really, and it's not going to happen for these folks to control it. The states have to step up and execute on their constitutional prerogative to control the federal government. There's really 4 branches to the federal government. The 4th branch is the states, operating not only through its other controls in the Constitution, like deciding who the congressional delegation should be by drawing maps, which is, we're being pilloried daily in the newspaper for, but really through this convention of the states. And so when people say to you, they ask you this question, they say, and I've had this a lot from local reporters and other folks, they say, well, I see it's in the Constitution and I see how it happens, but could that really happen? And the answer is yes, it can really happen. And we are now at that point in our history of our country that it's the only way that the federal government is going to get itself under control. And it's almost like we have to look at the federal government as our friend who has a problem that they can't control. And unless we're going to step forward in helping them, there's going to be a massive heart attack, there's going to be something bad that happens. And at $20 trillion, we know what the bad thing is that's going to happen. So, I want to compliment a couple of people. Margie Condit is here, and she's done yeoman's work on this issue. Right here. She's a state representative from Butler County, and she and I have worked on an entity called the Assembly of State Legislatures, which is a collection of state legislators working on drafting rules and procedures for when we have this convention. And it's really subject matter free, but I think Margie and I have an idea of what we would like to, the kinds of amendments we want to have that come out of this convention. And I know Bill Patton and Christina Hagan are also working on this in the House. Bill Coley who's one of the state senators and has also been very active in this movement. Fortunately, Senate Joint Resolution number 1, which is my resolution, is in a committee chaired by Senator Coley. That worked out great, which I testified in last week, and hopefully we'll get a vote on the next couple of weeks. You know, Mark Meckler, who's done a tremendous amount of work on this, and not just because he's a great guy, I mean, he's a true believer. He said to me, we met a month or so ago, and he said, you know, this is a different kind of movement. This is not about intimidating legislators. You're like one of the first groups to show up here and want to do something that don't have colored t-shirts on with the name of the resolution. Maybe that's coming, I don't know. But he explained to me that this is, it's not only it's an emotional movement, but it's really an intellectual. We need to explain to legislators who really don't know. It's maybe a shock to you, but legislators don't know everything, believe it or not. Who really don't know about it, the public doesn't know about it. So what you're doing as acolytes, disciples, whichever term you like, is very, very important. And being here today is important, but it's also explaining it in your hometown, to your local newspaper, to your Kiwanis Club, to your local political party, your church, your labor union, what this is all about. So I know I'll see some of you later today one way or another, but I have a committee meeting starting 2 minutes ago, and so I need to go to do that. And so thank you very much. I really appreciate it. Thanks very much, Steve.